Hi there, it's Steve. Today we will be making everybody's fourth, no, seventh favorite condiment, horseradish. This is what I dug out of the ground in the fall. It goes into the refrigerator and stays nicely in a plastic bag, just like carrots or anything else like that. And so we're going to clean it up, peel it up, grind it up, and turn it into something we can use. All right? Okay. Okay, so first thing first, when I store them still with some of the dirt on them, so that way they hold their shape and their form a little bit better, like any other root vegetable. Uh, just as such, this isn't really much to look at, but underneath that skin, once we get peeling it, I'm just getting the mud off right now. Um, Underneath that skin is an awful lot of power. So we'll just give it a quick rub to get the mud off. And for us here, like we don't eat a lot of it, but we eat enough of it to merit doing this. You know, you can go to the store and buy the already pre-bottled stuff, like Mrs. White's is one brand, and it's good, but it's not good enough. It doesn't have that punch in the mouth that you need there to, feel like your brains are melting and they're going to be coming out your ears. So we opt for this. We'll go through a little bit, more than a little bit, but it's not difficult to do, and it's really, really good for you. And turn the water off here. And once you start to peel it, you'll see it turns this nice white color as opposed to that whatever color that is, like parsnip color. Um, so as soon as you start to peel it, you can start to smell that power. Just the root as such, like to take it and smell it or whatever, if you're trying to identify it out, it's very nothing. Like there's nothing to indicate that it's going to be what it is and how it is. So that is that. And then we'll just get the worst of it. I've got two roots I want to get done. And after this, we're going to chop it up into little bits and pieces. And it's the same thing. It's when you start to chop it, this is usually something that if you're doing industrial quantities, you should be somewhere maybe potentially outside or being able to have windows open, because it can be an irritant to sensitive people. It's not the same kind of bothersome way that onions are, where it produces that chemical compound that turns the tears in your eyes into acid and it burns your eyes. This is just something completely different. Um, it's more of a nasal thing, and it can irritate the eyes too a little bit. But the chemical compound in it is iso something or another. It's just that fantastic of a plant that when you, or rather if you do plant it, it's better to isolate it somewhere where it won't spread everywhere, because it can be pretty invasive, so don't plant it in the middle of your garden and thinking, oh well, I'll get it out. No. Once you plant it, you always have it. And then you think, oh well, I'll just set the pigs in there and the pigs will clean it out. No, the pigs will eat the leaves, but the pigs won't touch the root. So you'll be stuck with this forever and ever and ever in your garden or wherever you plant it. Typically, what we do is we will use like a raised bed of sorts. We'll call it a raised bed. It's a 45-gallon drum that's been cut in half, and we fill it with dirt and compost or whatever. The nicer and softer the dirt and the compost is, the longer, straighter, and thicker the root will be. If you just plant it in the ground and hope for the best, it'll grow. It'll grow everywhere. Like we've found it growing out of cracks in the asphalt in the back over here, but it's no good. I mean, it's good, but it's a lot of work because you wind up with these skinny little roots. They're all crooked and you have to really work at it. So no, we opt not to do it that way. All right, now this is the fun part where we start to chippy chop. All right, anyways, I won't bother and bore you with doing this part, but what is important is that you chop it really, well, not really, but relatively small. Here, I'll adjust this a little bit so that way you can have a better idea. Okay, because this stuff can be really, 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 really hard on your blender or food processor even. You know, like I know we've burnt out a blender from this stuff. Okay, so it's just to make it into small, manageable pieces, not to dice it up or to, like, you know, super fine, but something like that, about, you know, so they can be processed a little easier in the blender or food processor. All right, I'm going to finish chopping this stuff up and I'll be back at the next batch. All right, so we've got these guys all chopped up. I've got them into two different little piles here because what I want to do is I want to use apple cider vinegar for one and regular white vinegar for the other. So it'll be two small little batches. If you want to, for added flavorings, if you wish, you can chop up like cayenne and put some cayenne in there to really stretch that powerful feeling out. You can put mustard seeds or peppercorns, whatever you want, just to give it that extra oomph. As such, I find personally that it is plenty pungent enough. There's enough power in there. Just like that, to put it and eat it. It's nice, tastes nice. It's got a certain sweetness to it even. But once you bite down on it, just even a little bit, it's enough to bring tears to your eyes. So I'm going to enjoy this piece of horseradish. We opt to use baby bullet. We had this for our little humans when we would grind stuff up and smooth it out for them, and it's just such a fantastic little thing to have. And also on top of it, the little cup has a little smiley face on it, so it's like it's always happy to serve and be useful. So we continue to use this guy. We'll load some in, one little batch like that. We don't even need the full big jars like that, but that's okay. And we'll put in, I put a little bit of water in here, just a little bit, just to make sure that it grabs and it's easier for the baby bullet to do its job. So we'll put this in. I don't know if this is going to be too noisy for you guys, but we're going to give it a swing. Shake it around a little bit, and it's already starting to come too. Like, how fantastic is that, right? Oh, that's good, that horseradish. Anyways, I know it's really noisy. I'm not going to keep going on with this. I'll do the rest of this grinding up in just a minute. So we'll stop there and I'll be back with you in a moment. All right, so it didn't take much more grinding, just not even 5 seconds barely. When you get to this stage, don't be tempted. Do not. This happened to me when I was just a wee little young guy, to take the lid off and say, oh geez, I'm gonna have a good whiff of that. You open it up and you breathe that in. It's just unbearable what your brain has to go through to deal with that smell. I probably should have listened to Miss Isabel my most significant other, um, to have picked a better day to do this, because even just this small little bit that's in here was enough to make me want to open the door. It's about close to minus 20 Celsius or big 0 Fahrenheit. So that's that. Like it's really, really, really powerful smelling. Now, uh, the longer you let this stuff sit, the more powerful it'll become as a condiment. So the longer you let it sit, the stronger it gets. If you don't like it with a lot of power, throw in a splash of vinegar right away. The vinegar acts like a stabilizer. It stops everything from happening, and you only put in enough vinegar as to make it the consistency that you want. You know, like, oh, it's just power. You saw me putting the water in. It's good stuff. That doesn't really that doesn't really affect um, the potency of it, if you wish. So it just helps, like the little blender do everything a little easier. So what we're going to do is, you can use lemon juice too, but flavor wise, I don't really particularly care for it. Here, like, I was thinking about maybe making a third batch with lemon juice, but we'll skip it. You can also put sugar into it too if you want it a little sweeter, or a little more friendly for the palate. So we're just going to put in a splash of vinegar into there. Okay, we're going to put this lid back on. And this you cannot preserve in the traditional ways of excuse me. All right, so with that little splash of vinegar in there, that is its preservation. We cannot typically can it like hot water or pressure canning. I'm sure you can. There's some way to do it that, like when you buy it at the store, it's canned. But there's no recipes that I could ever find or means to can it. So instead, we just make it in relatively small batches like this, and it's good in the refrigerator with vinegar for several months. So if you don't eat lots, don't worry about it. In the refrigerator or even in the freezer, it will be just fine. Okay. And I think, so I put the vinegar in. We're going to give it another whirl. And that'll be that. Okay. So this, what we're going to do is get it to the point in the jars, and I'll do the next one without videoing it. All right, so the paint is peeling nicely off the walls. We've got this stuff canned up. We're gonna wrap up here. Just to finish saying though, that the best times to get the horseradish harvested is late in the fall, after there's been a couple of good hard frosts. It's really super hardy, so you don't have to worry about it. Or in the spring, before it starts to grow again. It is something that is better to do, preferably outside, or when you can open the windows freely. And that's about that. It's good to smear on a piece of meat, on cow or pig. Throw it in a glass full of your favorite Bloody Mary or Virgin Mary, or a glass of tomato juice. It livens everything up. It's throw in a lump into your like the whole a piece of root into, if you make fire cider, does well in fire cider too. Same thing for relish. If you make your own relishes, throw a piece into your relish. Use your imagination. Or if you're daring and you want to clean out your sinuses and your ears and other orifices, take a mouthful and see what it does. It'll work some magic for you. Anyways, that's that. I thank you for your time and patience. If this was of any use to you, let me know. All right. Thanks.